It's Wednesday, the 8th of September, 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, then find more news and interviews in our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. In today's headlines, the Reserve Bank provides an upbeat assessment of the economy, saying COVID has delayed, but not derailed, the economic recovery. Plus, Qantas hands out frequent flyer points in an effort to boost vaccination rates. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian says the state should be ready for a mid-October reopening, and the major supermarkets on the lookout for more than 6,000 workers to backfill positions. Our lead story today, the Reserve Bank of Australia expects the economy to bounce back from the current lockdowns along the East Coast, saying the outbreak of the Delta variant of COVID-19 was a delay, but not a derailment of the economic recovery. The central bank concedes the recovery has been interrupted and economic growth is expected to decline materially during the current quarter, and the unemployment rate will rise. But the impact is uneven, with some regions across the nation facing very difficult conditions and others continuing to grow strongly. As vaccination rates increase further and restrictions are eased, the economy should bounce back, according to the Reserve Bank. However, there is still considerable uncertainty around the timing and pace of the bounce back, and it's likely to be slower than what it was earlier in the year. The bank said the economy will expand again next quarter and be back to its pre-Delta path in the second half of 2022. The Reserve Bank reiterated that it didn't think the official cash rate would rise until 2024. So, what's it all mean? The central bank is pretty happy with what's going on. Rates are on hold and the economy should bounce back in 2022. All round, good news. In overseas news, Toyota will spend more than $13 billion over the next decade to develop an improved battery for electric vehicles. Japan's biggest car manufacturer has been a leader in hybrid vehicles, but critics say has fallen behind in electric vehicles. El Salvador became the first country to accept Bitcoin as legal tender overnight. The launch didn't go as hoped, with the digital currency down as much as 17% to $43,000 a unit, after the government had to take its app for storing the digital currency offline due to capacity issues. And the price of iron ore has fallen to a 7-month low of around $132 a tonne after China stepped up efforts to cut steel production. Behind the crackdown is a push to reduce carbon emissions in the world's second largest economy. Also weighing on the price is increased production levels globally. The price of iron ore has fallen 40% since its peak in May this year. Locally, Qantas Chief Executive Alan Joyce said the airline is handing out 15 million frequent flyer points every day as part of its incentive scheme to encourage COVID vaccine uptake. It's issued 220 million points since 23 August. Mr Joyce said Qantas had created 46 new routes over the last year to avoid state border closures and had done all it could to accelerate the vaccine rollout and position itself for a post-pandemic future. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian said the state's struggling hospitality sector should dust off their COVID safety plans and prepare for a reopening in mid-October as vaccination rates rise. New South Wales reported 1,220 new cases yesterday, the third consecutive day of lower numbers, though the Premier has warned that worse is to come. Ms Berejiklian said reopening in the hospitality sector should mark the end of the statewide lockdowns, adding that only vaccinated people would enjoy greater freedoms. Meanwhile, Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews said he wanted up to 300,000 extra Pfizer doses from the new UK allocations to make up for what he says was a secret plan to vaccinate Sydney. Federal Health Minister Greg Hunt responded, saying some people were just looking for a fight. Women accounted for just 5% of chief executives of ASX 200 companies as at 30 June this year, the same as last year, but lower than 2018 and 2019, according to a survey by chief executive women. And there were no females appointed last financial year of top 200 companies, and only one, Cathy O'Connor at oOh!media, in the top 300. Since June, 2 women have been appointed to CEO roles, AMP's Alexis George and Woodside's Meg O'Neill. And the major supermarkets are on the lookout for new staff, with more than 6,500 current employees at Woolworths, Coles and Aldi in isolation. The supermarkets need staff in distribution centres and stores, with out-of-stock signs mounting in outlets across New South Wales, according to a report in the Financial Review. Supermarket workers are on the front line of the fight against COVID. The lady serving me on the weekend, who was a union rep, estimated that she came into contact with 3,000 people each week. They deserve all the plaudits they get. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning and search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. There, you'll also find our daily interview. Today, we're talking about the Reserve Bank and the impact of lockdowns on the economic recovery. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, or go to fearandgreed.com.au. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.